Remember that time when Instagram was down for like 48 hours? Or what about when we lost TikTok for about 24 hours? Well, this is why it is so important to have an email list. Yes, even as a podcaster, you should be having an email list. An email list is such an important part of growing your business and growing your podcast. There are so many strategies to choose from, and you might be thinking, where do I even start with growing my email list? Okay, it's something that I need to do now that you've convinced me, but where do I begin? Today, we have Tracy Beavers coming on the podcast to share all of the tips, tricks, and strategies that podcasters can use to grow their email list. And she gives some very practical ideas on why an email list is important for podcasters, how to use social media to send people to your show, as well as some other pro tips. Please join me in welcoming Tracy to the podcast. Welcome to Podcasting Unlocked, the show for purpose-driven podcasters. I'm Alicia Galati, founder of Galati Media, and I'm here to share actionable strategies to help you amplify your message and grow your audience. Hello, Tracy. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. If you could start by telling everyone who you are, what you do, and a bit about your show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I am Tracy Beavers. I'm a business and sales coach from Little Rock, Arkansas. My forte is helping online entrepreneurs and podcasters ramp up their visibility online, with all of that visibility leading directly to their email list, because that is where we're going to increase downloads, have an opportunity to maybe get some paid sponsors, sell some offers with our podcasts. My show was launched last summer. It rose very quickly into top ranking on Listen Notes, so I was really excited about that. That was a pleasant surprise. It's called Create Online Business Success. I like to bring actionable, tactical strategies every week for people to grow and scale their online businesses or their podcast with ease. And I'm a little bit of a goofball, so I like to say with ease and a whole lot of fun.
I love that. And I love your title. And I think that can contribute heavily to how quickly we rank, right? Having launched over 50 podcasts, I have told people, please don't name it the Alicia Galati Show, right?
Right.
Please, 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 please. Unless you are a celebrity and
Right.
you're a household name.
Right. Exactly. I am not Joe Rogan.
Yes.
Right. No, I totally get what you mean. When I was naming it, I was like, I don't even want to name it the Tracy Beavers Show. Sometimes during my group coaching sessions with my students, I'm like, okay, somebody else give some ideas because I'm tired of hearing myself talk. You know what I mean?
And I'm someone where I name things very practically. The first podcast I had was the Honest Product Bench, right? So like we're talking about e-commerce and products. The second one was Two Sisters and a Cult. It was me and my sister talking about cults, right? It's very to the point. Podcasting Unlocked. And I think that has a big impact on how well we do. I don't think enough people think that or realize that, that the name, like there's a lot of power in the name. And so you have such a Googleable podcast name that when people are searching for online business success, which a lot of people do, then your podcast is going to show up. I love
Thank
that.
You. Thanks. And in marketing, since that's what I teach, I always help my clients and students understand that we want to be clear more than we want to be clever. Because sometimes people will say the name of something and I'm like, I have no idea what that is. And people aren't going to tell you they don't know what you're talking about. They're just going to go, oh, that sounds good. And they're going to walk away from the conversation going, I have no idea what Alicia does, but don't tell her. You know?
Yes. Let's not be clever. Let's be clear, please, and thank you. So we're going to talk email today, and I'm really excited about this. This is a conversation that has been coming up so often where, you know, us as very avid content creators are kind of sick of social media.
Yeah.
Or we might have that one platform where we like to hang out, but that's about it. Yeah. We're finding it really frustrating, especially as business owners too, of like, I have to be in all of these places. I have to show up and be on 100% of the time. But that's not necessarily true. And so having a podcast and being a podcast guest, you've got your own content, you're getting on other people's content, cool.
Right.
But an email list is such an undervalued and underutilized strategy for podcasters. Now, The people here are business owners, right? Or they might be dabbling in the online space a little bit. So they kind of have an idea of, I should probably have an email list.
Mhm.
But, oh, I gotta create a freebie and I have to create a new freebie for every single episode, right? You've
Right.
got your Amy Porterfields of the world who have teams that do that for her.
Right.
And then you think, oh, that's what I have to do. So
Mhm.
before we get overwhelmed, because there's a
Right.
lot here, why is it important that we have an email list as business owners and as podcasters?
Yeah, great question. And I could talk about this all day long. I answered this same question, Alicia. I was a speaker at the Arkansas Podcast Festival last fall, speaking to a room full of podcasters about list growth. I tried to be kind of funny about it when I got up there. I said, okay, I know you think this is the sexiest topic you're going to hear all day. But by the time I get done with you, you're gonna know just how sexy it really is. And it was funny because I had people come up to me afterward and they're going, "You're so right. I thought this topic was gonna be so boring. Now you've got my attention. Tell me more about list growth." Speaking of social media, people have a love-hate relationship with it, especially now. There are a couple of platforms that people are saying they're leaving forever because of some political things and some things that have happened. The unfortunate reality is we do need to have an online presence of some kind in order to build our shows, our businesses, even if you're a podcaster that does not have any offers yet, but maybe you're looking to get sponsorships. It's still important to have an email list. Facebook and Instagram went dark about 2 years ago for about 36 hours. And when the lights came back on in the Meta Leaders Network group that I'm in, there were thousands of business owners who lost a lot of money. And it's
Mm,
because they were building their businesses completely, reaching their clients completely using a social media platform. We cannot do that. TikTok
mhm.
disappeared for 24, 36, I don't even know, 4 days. I pray that those people on TikTok were building an email list. So if we're just building on a social media platform, even if it's a podcast platform, we are building on rented land. We do not own Buzzsprout. We do not own Apple Podcast. We don't own Spot. We cannot control Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. None of these things are within our control, and they all have their own weird nuances of algorithm and everything else that we definitely can't control. But what we can do is we can attract our ideal audience, our listeners, our ideal clients off those platforms, off of
Mm,
the online space, whether they're listening to our podcast or they're seeing something I post on LinkedIn or Facebook, onto our email lists. When you email your list, you are landing in their living room. When you land in their inbox, you are in their living room. And everybody has an inbox, including my 82-year-old mother. We just need to make sure it doesn't land in the spam folder. But pulling those people off of whatever space it is you found them, whether it's through your show or through a blog or through a collaboration like what you and I are doing or through a social media post. And that way we can get to know them and move them through our sales funnel faster. Even podcasters who do not have offers might be thinking, well, I don't have a sales funnel. But it is so important because when you email your list, your downloads go up instantly. It's proven. And also, if I'm a sponsor looking for a good show and you tell me I have 50,000 following on Instagram, I'm going to be like, okay, well, that's all right. If you tell me I have 10,000 downloads a month, okay, that's pretty impressive. But if you tell me I have an email list of 5,000 people and an open rate of 40% or more, and I email them every week and I'm going to put you in that email, that's where I want to be.
yeah.
Because those vanity numbers don't mean anything. But landing in the email inbox with an actual open rate of human beings opening your email, they are far more likely to see something you're doing than if they're following you on social or listening to the show.
Yeah, I think it's such a great reminder that we should be emailing our list regularly.
Yep.
That's something I definitely struggled with for the majority of my online business time. I've been in the online space 10 years now,
Wow.
which is
Yeah.
wild.
That is wild.
And like doing little things here and there, side hustling here and there, but growing this business for the last 5 years, I would say I got serious about my email list in January.
Yeah.
So I'm going to grow this. I'm going to
Yeah.
nurture this. I'm going to email them every week, even though I don't want to, but
Yes.
I'm going to.
Yep.
It has made a difference in just the income. And I say passive income, but I took time to create these products.
Yeah.
It's not real passive, but
Nothing's passive.
semi passive income. I said, here's a freebie to my email list. The freebie had an upsell.
Yeah.
right? And I made $50. Cool. From a small email list and then
Mhm.
focusing on, all right, let's double down on growing this email list. If I
Mhm.
want and I don't think that I necessarily focused on it before now because my business was built very relationally and a lot
Mhm.
of referrals. And I didn't necessarily need the email list because I had those relationships. But
Right.
as I'm shifting to offer lower ticket services, more one on one things where you can't afford my team to handle this, but you can afford me to talk you through this and you do it yourself, then cool. I need to nurture these
Yeah.
relationships. So that has been something I'm focusing on. So if you're feeling like me, where you're like, I've been thinking about it, but I'm not really ready, then
Mhm.
now is a great time to
Mhm.
start. Years ago, probably would have been better to start, but now is still a great time to start. It's okay if you're feeling a little disheartened by, or maybe like, what do I talk about? Or what do I say?
Yeah.
Emailing your list, just letting them know, hey, new episodes are
Yeah.
live, or even, hey,
Mhm.
past episodes are
Yeah.
available. Say you have seasons and you have breaks. I know for me now, what I do is I kind of sectioned up my email, and you can tell me if I'm doing this wrong. But for anyone who's like, well, how do I do this? So the beginning part of my email is usually a story or educational content. Then it goes into a section where it has like either a freebie or join the community or something like that, or a
Yeah.
very low ticket offer. I'm talking less than $20. And then it goes into episodes from this week
Nice.
or like on the podcast. I always
Right.
have 3 episodes. The 2 episodes that go live that week, and if I'm on someone else's show, then I feature that. If I was not on someone else's show that week, then what I'll feature is a past episode relevant to what I'm talking about in the email because
Yep.
we got 200 plus episodes here to pull from. And
Sure.
then I end with a question. Reply to this email. Let me know your answer. So
Mhm.
far, I have not gotten any replies to
That's
that,
okay.
but eventually someone will reply.
Yeah.
Reply to this email with your thoughts on this topic that we're talking about
Mhm.
in the email. And then happy podcasting. Love, Alicia. Running super simple.
I think that's great. You're giving them value. You're giving a little personality in there as well. And you're giving them calls to action to go check out past episodes. One idea I had for my podcasters when I was delivering my talk was, what if you emailed them and you said, have you ever wanted to know the behind the scenes of how my show got started? Or have you ever wanted to know why I created this episode? Here's the backstory on it. People love a behind the scenes. In your podcast, you could even say, and if you want to be the first to know when a new episode's going to drop or the episodes we have planned, or you want to give your feedback on future episodes, join my newsletter at, aliciagalati.com// whatever. And people love that. They want to be the first to know. They want to know the behind the scenes. Also, an idea I had for the podcasters was a giveaway. So at this podcast conference, there were these really cool guys who won an award, and their show was called Should Have Been a Podcast. And they had these really cool t-shirts that had their slogan on it. That's a great giveaway. One or two of those t-shirts, enter here to win. We're going to give away a t-shirt. Oh my gosh, people love that stuff. Anytime you can engage your audience for getting people to reply back, that is not easy. Don't beat yourself up. It takes a little practice. What I've started doing is like the first email of January that I sent, I have a free lead magnet that's a less than 1 minute exercise that will rewire your brain from crap talk to success. I said in the email at the end in the PS, did you spend most of 2024 talking crap to yourself? Like everybody else I know. If you did, I have a less than 1 minute exercise to rewire your brain for success for 2025, reply back the word rewire and I'll send it to you. And I had about 20 people that emailed me and said, rewire. I was able to email them, hey, Alicia, so great to see you. Here's your freebie. And then I was able to say, how is your 2025 going so far? What do you have on deck? And it opened up conversations where then I could uncover needs. And I got some
Mhm.
clients out of it. It's so fun. And then one time I was talking about sales and I said something about, sales makes you uncomfortable. Ask me how I know as a former junior high band kid selling band candy door to door, right? And at the end of the email, in the PS, I said something about reply back and tell me what was the oddest thing you ever had to sell for an elementary school fundraiser. Because we all had to do it,
Yes.
right? Whether it was pizza or some people were selling pizza. And I was like, how is that against the health code violation? But whatever. Whether it was candy or gift wrapper, people thought that was amazing. Sometimes it is the least little thing. One of our Facebook posts in my free Facebook group, Be a Confident Entrepreneur, was, what's your favorite color of sticky note? We had 300 comments on that post because people have a very strong opinion. So just ask them something fun like that. It will blow your mind what people will respond to.
I think it's hilarious that people have a preference on sticky notes.
Yes, this yellow sticky note, this is the only one I used. If you buy me any other color, I'm gonna give them away to somebody else.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That is
Or
so
like
interesting.
pencil or pen or like, are you a PC or a Mac? That started arguments. People were arguing about and I was like, "Okay, people, calm down."
It's just a question.
Sometimes it's little things like that that'll get people going in your inbox, and it's fun because it does open up those conversations, and then you're able to uncover needs and potentially move them along through the sales funnel a little bit more.
So when we're thinking about, okay, we've got some ideas on what we can maybe email our list, but
Mhm.
how do I grow this thing? You mentioned mentioning it in your podcast. What are some other things that we can do?
Yeah, so this is a mistake I see people making. I was talking to a gal the other day. She has a YouTube channel and she's like, "I don't think it's growing my list." And I said, "Well, in the video or the audio, if you're doing a podcast, are you giving a call to action that leads to your list?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Okay, in the show notes or the description notes is what YouTube calls them on each video, are you putting a call to action that leads to your list?" "No." And I was like, "Okay, so whether we have a podcast, a video show, a blog, or a live training, we've got to give a call to action verbally for people that are not looking at the show notes for something cool. Like one of my calls to action now is go check out my podcast. Before I started the podcast, it was come join my free Facebook group. I have over 3,000 online entrepreneurs there. I have the membership entry questions set up. People want to give me their email list and join my list to get a freebie that I'm offering. It's really important in the audio, speaking, the call to action, and then in the notes of whatever it is you've put together, whether it's a blog, live training, YouTube video, or whatever. You want that to lead to your email list. When you are a podcast guest, don't make the same mistake that I did. I knew they were going to say, "Where can everybody find you to connect with you?" I should have given something that led to my email list directly.
Mm.
This same client said, "I've been a podcast guest on 10 or 15 shows." First of all, when are they airing? Sometimes they record and don't air for a few months. She said, "No, they've already aired." I asked her, when the podcast host said, "Where can everybody find you to connect with you?" What did you say? And she said, "I'm sending them to follow me on Instagram or I'm sending them to my website." Neither of those things are a good solution. If they don't like Instagram, I'm not going to go follow her on Instagram. And if I go to her website, I'm going to get so lost. You land on a website, there's too many buttons, too many things to push, pop up things, you're closing right and left, and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm out of here." No wonder none of that was growing her list. So we've got to be prepared as a podcast host. We also have to be prepared as a podcast guest. You don't have to worry so much about creating content and posting 7 days a week on social media if you have those things plugged in for your podcast, regular live training show or video show. You do need to be on social media with a call to action that leads to your podcast, which leads to your list, or YouTube channel, which leads to your list. But you do not have to be on social media 24/7 to get traction. You just need to be there consistently.
Yeah, I think that it's important that we think about this in the typical business funnel, right? We're looking at an upside down funnel where the
Yes.
top is wider, the
Right.
bottom is smaller. For those who are not watching us and just visualizing this,
Yeah.
the top is going to be your social media,
Yeah.
your podcast, your YouTube channel, your blog, your LinkedIn newsletter, maybe even your Substack, though I would count Substack maybe a little lower. It's those places where people initially find you.
Yes.
And then how do you move them
Mhm.
toward either working with you, being BFFs, right? Whatever that goal might
Right.
be for you.
Right.
And so then thinking about, okay, if they're meeting me on my Instagram, then where do I want them to go next? What is that
Mhm.
next call to action? If they're meeting me on my podcast, what is that next call to action? I cannot tell you the number of times that I have gotten on calls with people and they've said, "I want to get more leads from my podcast." I'm like, "Cool. When was the last time you told people they could work with you and how to work with you?" And they're like, "Ooh, never." And I'm like,
Yeah.
next 5 out of 8 episodes, you need to sell something in your
Exactly.
episode.
The same thing happens with my clients and students. They're like, "Well, I have this awesome $97 offer, but nobody's buying it." And I'm like, "When was the last time you told anybody about it?" And they're like, "I emailed my list about it 2 weeks ago, and then I posted on LinkedIn, I think last week, but I'm not." And I'm like, "No, no." I say the same thing you do. I'm like, "Email the list today, put it in the PS on Friday when you email them again." Come on.
Yes, we have to keep reiterating this, right? And especially nowadays where people are so busy, they're
Yeah.
distracted. When I think about people on social media, they're there for the dopamine hits, not
Mhm.
to find more podcasts to listen to typically, right? They're there for the entertainment. How do we grab them and move them through and not rely solely on those places? Places where
Right.
we have their attention. The podcast episodes, the YouTube channel, guesting on other people's podcasts, those are places where you have such an opportunity because you are giving so much value, you're giving so much of yourself that that call to action is paramount.
Y
It is so important. And you get
Yes.
to choose what that looks like, right? It could be, hey, you're already on your podcast app, go check out my podcast, and then your podcast then funnels them into your email list, right? You get to choose what that kind of transition looks like,
Exactly.
but it's so important. So for me, when I guest on other people's shows, because people can't always spell my name, and so what I ended up
And you know
doing
what's sad? They can't spell mine either, and it's Tracy. How hard is that?
yes, is there an extra E in there?
They're trying to make it fancy, and then I get called Stacy. I don't get it.
Yes. So what I did was I bought the URL helpmypod.com.
I love that.
Super this is where it goes back to, how do I name this as
Right.
easy as possible for
Seriously.
people?
Yeah.
Helpmypod.com, and I send people there. It's got a free consultation with me, which then they get on my email list because they had the consultation.
Yep.
It's got a freebie there, and if they scroll down, there's more information of like, oh, I want one-on-one, work with Alicia's team, or explore some freebies or workshops. The options are there, right? At
Mhm.
the top, it's check out one-to-one services or book a free consultation. Either of those options are going to send them to join my email list in
Yep.
some way. I
Love
think
it.
that it's such an important part of moving people through this.
Yes.
What are some other ways that we're maybe out of the box ways that we can think about growing our email list when we're feeling like, all right, I'm doing this, but I'm not seeing results yet? Because, guys, it takes time also.
So, one of the ways that I teach my online entrepreneurs, my audience is coaches, course creators, consultants that have online offers. And a lot of them use a podcast as a top of funnel strategy or a live training like I do. I've been going live weekly every Thursday at 11:30 for years. And when I decided to develop the podcast, I just pulled the audio from StreamYard, and that's the podcast episode. So it made it really easy on me to create that. But one of the things that I teach, a fundamental foundational piece, when you have a social media profile, wherever it is, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Circle, Mighty Networks, Kajabi Community, like wherever you have a social media profile where people can see your name, they can see something about who you are, who you serve, how you serve them. We need to add a link to your email list in some way. I teach Facebook. It's my jam. It's the number one platform, regardless of how everybody's feeling about it right now. People that are saying, I'm leaving forever, they will be back in 3 months because this is where everybody is. This is where their clients are. So for me, I'm just going to use it as a massive marketing tool to reach more people and make more money. So the Facebook personal profile needs to be dialed in as a list growth funnel. And the way we do that is I want when somebody lands on your Facebook personal profile, your LinkedIn profile, your Instagram, wherever it is, immediately know who you are, who you serve, how you serve them. Immediately see a link to be able to connect with you in some way, because otherwise they're out of there. If somebody's listening to this and they're like, well, I'm going to go look up Tracy Beavers on Facebook, it is a massive mistake, visibility and list growth mistake, if they get to my personal profile and click on the About section and it says no workplaces to show. Nothing gets my goat more than that, because I am an expert. Tracy Beavers Coaching, and they're listening to me on this show and they're like, oh my gosh, she may be the next person I need to hire. Well, then they go to my personal profile and they're like, I thought she was a serious CEO with a legit coaching business. It looks like she's not even putting that there. That's a red flag for people. It's a disconnect for their brain. They're like, maybe she's not the expert I thought she was. And that cover photo that's right behind our photograph, we need to showcase something that leads to your email list.
Mm.
This is how my list grows by hundreds of people every single month, and where I do not even have to invite them or say anything to them about my free Facebook group, because my Facebook group is showcased on my cover photo. I do a lot of networking. I do a lot of podcast guest spots. I'm active in Facebook groups where my ideal clients are hanging out. And all I have to do is show up on those groups, be of service, be kind, answer questions where I can, cheer people on. And over time, they're going to keep seeing my name and they're going to be like, who is this Tracy Beavers person? She seems like a really nice person and she seems like she knows what she's talking about. They click on my personal profile because that's what shows up in the group. They go there, hit the cover photo, and they slide right down into my free group, which grows my list. It's an email list growth funnel that a lot of people don't even realize can work for them. And same goes for your Facebook business page. You set it up the same way. A free Facebook group makes a lot of sense for most business owners, especially if you're a coach. Having your own free community where you can invite your ideal clients in, they join your list, you're able to showcase your expertise at a deeper level, they're able to ask you questions at a deeper level, and you're able to move them through your funnel faster.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. In the online space, there tends to be almost like a one size fits all. At least there has been historically. I don't know that that's still the thing, just because I try to stay out of conversations as much as I can. But I love that you said that specifically for coaches, they're the ones that a Facebook group would make a lot of sense for.
Yes.
But you gave other strategies. So if someone is maybe a service provider or they are someone who writes emails for people, but they have a podcast and they're like, I don't know that a Facebook group makes sense for me. I appreciate that you were specific there because I don't think that one size fits all. And that from everything you've given us so many different options to choose from. We could pull one and
Yes,
try it out for 6 months.
for
So
sure.
thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
No, there is not. You are absolutely right, Alicia. There is not one size fits all. If I had a dime for every time my answer to one of my clients or students was, it depends, I would have retired by now. And we were talking about this morning on our live strategy call with my students. They were like, is this the right way to do X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, look, there is no one right way to do anything unless you are building a McDonald's franchise where it is all set, the menu is set, the French fry cooker is set at a certain temperature, and you cannot deviate from the menu or the uniforms or anything. There is one right way to do that, but we're not
Yeah.
doing that. And we also have to build in a way that's authentic to us. So if I have a student that I think is a free Facebook group is a home run for them, and they're like, Tracy, I don't want to do that. I'm like, cool, park that strategy. I've got 10 other ones I can teach you. Look at the buffet of what I'm teaching you, and let's pull out some stuff that'll work for you, and let's get started on that. I teach live video as a strategy because there's nothing the algorithm loves more than live video. The algorithm will give you a crown or a tiara when you go live. But I have students that are like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, okay, cool. Park it. We'll continue to talk about it. Usually it takes them 3 or 4 months to want to dip their toe in the water. We have to do what's authentic to us and figure out the pieces and parts that are going to work and then put that together. But what I don't want anybody to do is not make the decision.
Right.
Is to not make the decision of what pieces and parts that Tracy and Alicia are talking about will fit me and my business and move forward. It's when they sit there and they stare at all the pieces and the parts, and then 30 days goes by and they've made no money and they've not grown their list, and they wonder why.
It's as simple as taking that first step. All
Yeah,
right, I'm going to change the back of my profile picture. Like if you're a
right.
LinkedIn person, cool. Change the back part of your
Yeah.
profile photo where you have it redirecting to check out your freebies or to check the links for your free community or listen to your podcast, which then leads them hopefully to your email list, right? There's so many strategies that you can pick and pull from here,
Mhm.
but take action and get back to us in the next 30 days. I want to know. Are you doing this? Connect with Tracy. Tracy, this has been so much fun. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
being on, giving us
Thanks.
so many delicious ideas to run with. Where can people find you, get to know you, hang out with you?
Yeah. So my podcast, Create Online Business Success. If they're a podcast listener, which they are because they're listening to us now, then I hope they'll love my show. Fun fact, my son is my podcast manager.
Nice.
I know. Bless his
That's
heart. He
cute.
thought he was going to get away from me when he went to college. But I'm like, hey, I need you to learn Descript and stitch this stuff together for mom.
It goes on his resume.
Yes, exactly. And the fun thing is he has a different last name than I do. So he can put Tracy Beavers Coaching down and nobody's going to know I'm his mom. And when they call for a referral, I'm going to be like, he is the smartest young man I have ever met in my entire life. You have got to hire him immediately. So Create Online Business Success is a great place to connect with me. If they want to come join my free Facebook group, please do that. It's called Be a Confident Entrepreneur. Get visible, grow your email list and your income. We have 3,500 online entrepreneurs. It is the nicest, most supportive community you are ever going to be a part of. We have members that are experts on every subject. You can post in there and say, I am stuck on XYZ. Somebody that knows XYZ is going to swoop in and help you. You can promote your offers anytime. It's just a really nice community to be in.
Nice. And we'll make sure that we have links for that in the show notes and the description for anyone doing other things while they're listening to us. Tracy, this has been so much fun. Again, thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.